So what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper, and welcome everybody back to today's video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the top 10 weapons that we want to come to PUBG. So these are weapons that aren't already in the game, but we think would make a really good fit and something that we would just love to play with in the game. Now, I love making these kinds of videos because not only do we get to talk about weapons that we would like to see come to the game, and we get a little bit more leeway of what we can discuss, but also the fact that the things that we do talk about probably have some significance on eventually what does come down the line for weapons that are added to PUBG. So in previous videos, when we talked about weapons that we want to see, a lot of them have already been added to the game, so we get to kind of update the list and talk about more that we want to come to the game as well. Now, it's been a little while since we've aimed for a like goal, so on this video, if you guys have been enjoying it, we're going to aim for 3,000 likes. That would be absolutely incredible, and I know you guys could destroy that goal. And of course, if you do happen to be brand new here and you haven't already subscribed, this is your first time seeing a video, make sure to go ahead and do that and become part of this community, and you won't miss out on daily PUBG content. Now, a lot of this list was voted on and put together by people in my Discord server, so if you haven't already joined, you can go ahead and do that. Links in the description below, and next time we do a poll, if I ask you guys a question, you can put your input over there. So anyways, all that said, let's get into it, shall we? All right, so coming in today at our number 10 spot is going to be the Scar 20S. Now, if you've played a game like Counter-Strike, odds are you're really familiar with this weapon. Something I didn't expect was that this was very highly voted on by the Discord community. Like, a lot of people wanted to see this weapon in the game, and it's, you gotta wonder why that is. Now, we do have the Scar L already in PUBG, and these two are fully different things, even though they're called Scars. They act and behave completely different. Like, they could not be more opposite. Even though they might even look similar as far as like their style, they're very different when it comes to performance. The Scar L fires 5.56, but the Scar 20S would fire 7.62, and it's more like a tactical like battle rifle. It's really difficult where to class this exactly because I feel like I want to put it in the DMR section, and I think that's how people would use it as well. And we already have like a bunch of DMRs that fire 7.62, the SKS, SLR, Mark 14, all that kind of stuff. You guys already, we have a plethora of those, but I feel like the Scar 20S would kind of perform more like a mutant instead of being a DMR. It would be like the cross between the rifles and the DMRs. Like, we keep categorizing even further and further down, but I think the Scar 20S would actually make a really nice addition. Okay, so moving on and coming in at number 9, this is what I wanted to put this kind of low on the list just because, like, it's not technically a weapon, but it's something that could be a new attachment, but also use as a weapon. So we'll see what you guys think about this. Imagine there was like 2 different underbarrel attachments that you could put on most of the ARs, and like one of them, what if it was a smoke grenade launcher? So if you need to drop a smoke, instead of throwing it, or if you need to go even farther with your distance of it, you could launch it from like your underbarrel, and then vice versa, you could also have a shotgun underbarrel. Now, for balance of the game, of course, it would have to make sense where the shotgun barrel attachment would be pretty weak when it, well, like all things considered, especially compared to the other primaries, but still, you'd have like a mini shotgun, or maybe if you want an underbarrel smoke grenade launcher that you could use just in case you need it. It'd be one of those things where you can flip to and like alternate between, just like the canted sights that we already have in the game. To be honest with you, I don't really use the canted sights that much, and I don't think most players do either. It's got its advantages and drawbacks, but I think for the players that do use it, they really appreciate it, and for the players that also would use these attachments, they would really appreciate it as well. So while it technically isn't just a gun that we want to see in the game, I think it could be a cool weapon attachment that could really expand the way that we use our weapons. Alright guys, but moving on and coming in at the number 8 spot is the XM1014 shotgun. Now, this was easily the highest upvoted shotgun that players want to have right now. And it makes sense because we really only have one realistically like modern shotgun, and that's the S12. So the other shotguns, while they're still like novelty in a way, and they're not very meta. I don't think players use them really anywhere past the early game and until they find something better. And that's just kind of how shotguns in this game are anyways. I don't think adding a new one would change that entirely, but it would be cool to have a nice like new tactical shotgun that isn't one of the old style ones and something that isn't the S12. Now, the idea has been thrown around that, you know, like if a new tactical shotgun gets added, it might be an airdrop shotgun, which would be really interesting because I never expected just to have want a shotgun coming out of drops, right? Just because that's the way that PUBG is designed, and shotguns are not the strongest in their class. But maybe if the XM1014 was like actually insane, it could be worthy to have in drops. Don't know, just a little interesting idea to throw around. Let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, now moving on here and coming in today at number 7 is the GM6 Lynx, and this one's really fascinating to me, and I'll tell you exactly why. Now, when we made videos in the past, and it comes to like adding a new beefy sniper to PUBG, everybody's like, we want the Barrett 50 cal, like add a new ammo type and make that the like beefiest sniper there is. But all the Barrett fans are out here sleeping on the Lynx. Like, it fires the exact same ammo type, but I think that they could actually add this into the game, and they won't even have to add an extra ammo type. So let's get rid of realism for 1 minute, I think this could be the alternative AWM in drops, right? It has the same ammo type as the AW, but maybe instead of getting that weapon, you can get the Lynx instead, and it performs differently. When it comes to the realism argument, listen, I know it doesn't fire the 300 Magnum that the AW does, but we're talking about a game where you literally drink Red Bull energy drinks in order to heal you from gunshot wounds. So I think when it comes to adding new features and how the game should be balanced, the people that argue for like exact realism, I think is just so silly. So it's just a video game, lads. You don't got to be so angry all the time. But yeah, back to the Lynx. I think this would be an awesome addition to drops, and it would take away from the fact of the AW being the only like really big sniper to chase after. It would create a really healthy competition between these two weapons, and I think like the player dispute about which guns are better in this game is part of what makes this game fun to begin with. So the Lynx is a big one for me. I'd love to see into the game. For those of you who suggested that, big ups. Thank you so much. All right, now moving along here and coming in at number 6 is the classic, the all-time fan favorite, the RPK. This one actually got a ton of upvotes as well and was extremely popular with you guys as being a pick to get added, and I think it does have a place in the game as LMGs in PUBG. In my opinion, there's only really one real LMG. That's the M249. The DP28, while classified as an LMG, doesn't really behave like one, if you know what I mean. For example, it only holds literally 7 more bullets than like most of the ARs if you have the extended on it, and it doesn't appear on every map, which the M249 does, albeit rarely, and it's in drops. But the DP28 doesn't really seem to get much playtime, even in the maps that it is in, and I think some more healthy additions of LMGs, whether they be rare or not, could be healthy for the game as well. The RPK could add both just to the LMG class and be a nice counterpart to the DP already, right? It'll fire the same ammo type as that one, and maybe it'll fire a little bit slower in exchange for having a higher magazine size or something. I don't really know. They could balance it in a way where it's not identical to the DP, but that it still has its own place in the meta and the balance of PUBG. I suppose it's in the cards that it could be the RPK as a drop weapon, but I don't really know if I want it in drops, to be fair. I kind of want more LMGs on the ground, to be honest with you. But at least to me, the fact that this was voted on very highly and requested means that there is a large want to have this in the game. Now, taking our number 5 spot is going to be the MP7. And so I know, I get it, guys. We have a ton of SMGs already in the game. Like, they've added the PP Bison, the MP5 recently, which I love. I'm a huge fan of the MP5, and I'm so glad it's in the game. Unfortunately, it is only a Vikendi exclusive, which does make me a bit sad. But if they're going to keep doing these SMGs and they want to make the map exclusive, I think the MP7 could fit in at least a couple of these. Especially like Erangel and Sanhok, I think, could do with the MP7. It's hard to remember what exactly weapons are map exclusive. So for Miramar, I don't really think there's anything that would take away from having the MP7 in. Maybe that could be added, especially in Sanhok. I feel like could use as well. And I think now's a great time as well because they completely neutered the old UMP. Do you know what I mean? So now that the fact that and the Vector are switched, we need a new 9mm SMG that's a cross between like SMGs and ARs. And the MP5, at least in Vikendi, does that wonderfully. I think it's probably one of my favorite guns in that map. However, we need alternatives of that in the rest of them too. I feel like those are kind of left out. It's definitely a big one for me, and I'd love to see it. Now, coming in today at the number 4 spot, I'm gonna give it to a novelty weapon. I feel like it would be unfair if I didn't include at least one, because odds are they are gonna keep adding them as time goes on. You know, we have the Winchester, which is a novelty weapon, and aside from that, I don't think we really have too many other ones. But a novelty weapon that I think would work great and players would love is the M1 Garand. This one needs absolutely no introduction. It's an absolute classic, and I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with exactly what this is. Now, I feel like if they're gonna go for it and add this to the game, then they should do it alongside some other weapons as well, because I don't know if this itself is gonna cut it and satisfy most people, because the Winchester, you know, there are the fans of the weapon, but it is a novelty weapon at the end of the day, and it really isn't supposed to be competitive. Neither would the M1 Garand, but it would be fun to use. It would be a gun that to do challenges with or mess around or just have a good time. And I feel like a lot of the player base would get annoyed if a new weapon got added, and it's one that a lot of people aren't going to use anyway. So if they release it alongside some other ones, I think it'll be received really well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we get to my favorite part of the video. We get into the top 3 here, and these are by far the most popular weapons amongst players, and I also believe the most likely to eventually end up in the game. Coming in today at the number 3 spot is going to be the P90 SMG. Now, this is the only SMG that I've ever requested to be in airdrops, and I think a lot of players are in agreement with me that that would make a fantastic fit. I feel like the way to do this right is make the P90 have a pretty large magazine size and make it decently strong for what it is. Make it maybe even a little bit stronger than all of the other SMGs. I'm not sure exactly what it is, what makes this one so popular with you guys, but maybe it's the look of it, maybe it's the feel and the way that you've played with it in other games that would make for a good fit here. Either way, this seems to be very likely to happen in the game at some point and is unbelievably requested as a weapon. Can't lie, it would be really interesting to have an SMG that's genuinely competitive with the other assault rifles, right? That's pretty much what it comes down to at the end of the day, and especially in the late game gunfights, like that's what you need to play with. But it'd be cool to have an SMG to change it up a little bit and actually have a effective one. All right, coming at the number 2 spot is something that's pretty underrated. I didn't see it being a very popular weapon, but the one that was in this spot was the Barrett 50 cal, but we've talked about that way too much. It's just beating a dead horse at this point, so I'm going to leave that one off the list because we've talked about that in length in other videos. But what I'm going to put in at the number 2 spot is the AK-74U. And I'll be completely honest with you, I'm not really sure what to do with this one. Should we classify it as another SMG in this game? And if so, should it be a map specific? Like, how should it be mixed in? What ammo type really should it fire to make sense with PUBG? Like, there's a lot of questions here with this one, and I'm not sure it's entirely clear. And that's what's good about it, is you guys can give input on whether you would like this gun or not, what maps it should be in, and how it should behave. I've given my opinion and my feedback on literally every weapon on this list, but for the AK-74U, I'm going to leave this one absolutely open-ended and let you guys go wild with it, and we'll see what comes of it. Maybe you'd like it as an airdrop weapon, maybe you'd like it as a common spawn. Any idea you have at all, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below inside the comment section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, though, coming in today at our number 1 spot, one of the most highly requested weapons and one of the most unique ones at that fact is going to be the FAMAS assault rifle, and I think this is an unbelievably good pick. What's so nice about PUBG is that, yeah, it does have like this realistic undertone and it tries to keep to that as much as possible, but it still is flexible enough to have literally like whatever gun we want in the game, and I think the FAMAS should have already been in the game, to be honest with you. To have another 5.56 assault rifle just amongst all the other ones, I don't think would be a bad choice at all. I know we have a lot of them already, especially with some of the map specific ones, but just having more variety, in my opinion, is never a bad thing, and this would be another gun just for us to learn. It's easily one of the most visually interesting weapons, and it sounds amazing. It's a classic from a lot of other video games, and I'm genuinely surprised it's not already been put into the game either from the beginning or added sometime later on down the road, but I fully understand why now this was so popular with you guys, and hopefully this one does end up coming to the game. I feel like this would be a good like addition to be the alternative AUG, right? I feel like it would be kind of a good idea, similar to what I was talking about earlier with the Lynx and the AWM thing, kind of being the alternatives of each other, having maybe the FAMAS be the alternative AUG. And of course that means it's drops only, so they could have all of the like weapon exclusive or map exclusive assault rifles that they wanted to in whatever you're playing, but they could also have a chance to get the FAMAS out of drops, and I think it would be a good addition for the variety of it. Out of this entire list, I feel like this is definitely the one that would be the most fun to have, and you guys can let me know your opinions on that inside the comment section. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the video for today. The top 10 weapons that we need to see come to PUBG in the future, and hopefully that these get listened to and get developed to be added sometime later on down the road. But if I missed any weapons that you think should be on this list, feel free to let me know down below as well, and make sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are brand new to this channel and you have not done already, and also before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my second channel where I will be live streaming over there and you can come hang out with me. That's where all the streams for the most part right now are going to be, so if you're not already subscribed, make sure to be a good lad, open up the description and go click on that link, hit that sub button over there. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one guys, and peace out.